What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we have a lot to talk about because the WNBA officially released the schedule for the 2026 season. And while on the surface that sounds like a normal, exciting league update, once you dig into the details, it actually opens up way bigger conversations about rivalries, marketing decisions, free agency chaos, player frustration, CBA negotiations, expansion teams, injuries, and the overall direction of the league. This schedule release feels less like a celebration and more like a pressure point. Fans are excited, players are confused, the league office is pushing forward, and the Players Association is basically saying, WNBA, stop playing games. So yeah, there's a lot of layers here, and we're going to break all of it down. Let's start with what the league actually announced. The WNBA announced that its 30th season will officially tip off on Friday, May 8, 2026. That date is significant, not just because it marks 3 decades of the league, but because it signals that, at least publicly, the league is moving forward with business as usual despite ongoing CBA negotiations. Opening night features some major moments. The Toronto Tempo will make their franchise debut on May 8th, officially welcoming Canada into the WNBA era in a big way. The Portland Fire, returning to the league after years away, will open their season on May 9th. And also on May 9th, we get a finals rematch between the defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces, and the Phoenix Mercury. But that's not all. Another marquee matchup on opening weekend features Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever hosting Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. And this is where things start to get interesting. In the entire official press release for the 2026 schedule, only 2 players were mentioned by name, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. That's it? No Aja Wilson, no Brianna Stewart, no Sabrina Ionescu, no Nafisa Collier, just Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. Now that's not an accident. The WNBA is clearly signaling where it believes the next major rivalry lives. And based on how this schedule is structured, it feels like the league has officially moved on from trying to manufacture an Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky rivalry and is instead fully leaning into Clark versus Bueckers as the centerpiece storyline. Last season, the Fever and the Sky played each other what felt like 5 or 6 times. The matchups were heavily promoted, but the rivalry never really took off in a meaningful way, especially considering Indiana dominated those games. This year, Indiana only plays Chicago 3 times. That's a massive shift. The league appears to be acknowledging that not every rivalry can be forced, and instead of trying to keep something alive that never really clicked, they're pivoting towards something with a more natural narrative arc. Let's zoom in on the Indiana Fever schedule, because that's where a lot of these decisions become even clearer. The Fever open their season against the Dallas Wings, which, from a league marketing standpoint, is incredibly smart. You immediately get Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers, 2 of the biggest names in women's basketball, going head-to-head right out of the gate. Indiana and Dallas play multiple times this season, and while I haven't gone through every single matchup to see who Indiana plays the most, it's obvious that Dallas is being positioned as a primary rival. Now, normally, this is where a lot of content creators would start circling games on the calendar, saying things like, this matchup is going to be amazing, or I can't wait to see Indiana play New York, or that Seattle game is must-watch basketball. But here's the problem. We don't know who's going to be on these teams yet. WNBA free agency hasn't even happened. We have no idea what rosters are going to look like. Sure, there are some safe assumptions we can make. Paige Bueckers is still on her rookie contract, so she's going to be in Dallas. Caitlin Clark is obviously staying in Indiana. But beyond that, everything is up in the air. Angel Reese's situation in Chicago is a perfect example. After everything that happened last season, will she request a trade? Will Chicago try to move her? If she does leave, where does she go? What does that mean for the Sky as a franchise? Then you look at the New York Liberty, who now have a brand new coaching staff. What is that team even going to look like next season? Will their core stay intact, or will changes be made? And what about the expansion teams? Toronto and Portland are complete question marks. We don't know what their rosters will look like, how competitive they'll be immediately, or how they'll approach free agency. And that's before we even get into the biggest factor of all. If players accept the current offer on the table from the league, maximum salaries could jump from around $250,000 to over $1 million. That changes everything. When that kind of money gets involved, loyalty starts to look different. Players who may have stayed with a franchise for championship contention might suddenly be faced with life-changing financial decisions. Do you stay somewhere familiar and chase a ring, or do you go where the money is? This upcoming free agency period could be absolute chaos. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This could be the wild, wild west of WNBA free agency. Even teams like Minnesota, who you'd expect to keep someone like Napheesa Collier and offer her a max deal, could see role players exploring other options. Depth pieces matter, and if someone else is willing to pay them more, they might leave. And even with Indiana, while the schedule promos feature Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell, we don't actually know how committed the front office is to keeping everyone together. So while the schedule is exciting, speculating too hard right now would honestly be doing you all a disservice. Which brings us to the elephant in the room, the collective bargaining agreement. The WNBA released the 2026 schedule, but that doesn't necessarily mean a season is guaranteed to happen on time. According to reporting, the league views the schedule release as a necessary business operation. Teams need it to plan logistics, sell ticket packages, secure broadcast deals, and most importantly, lock in arena dates. This is especially critical for teams that don't own their own arenas. If you don't book those dates early, you risk losing them to concerts, events, or other sports. And that matters because revenue matters. The players want a higher revenue share, and that revenue has to come from somewhere. Bigger arenas, better attendance, and advanced ticket sales are all part of that equation. But while the league was pushing the schedule, the WNBA responded in a very different tone. On the same day the schedule dropped, the Players Association posted a message saying, "WNBA, stop playing games." They urged fans to email league leadership and demand good faith negotiations, better pay, and improved working conditions. Several players also reacted on social media. Azura Stevens commented question marks under a post about the schedule release. Aja Wilson shared a post on Threads that perfectly captured the confusion and frustration players are feeling. From the player perspective, they put a proposal on the table before Christmas and they still haven't heard back. So yeah, fans might be excited, but players are looking at this like, why are we talking about schedules when we don't even have a DA? From the league's perspective, releasing the schedule could be a strategic move to gain public support. It sends a message that the WNBA is confident a deal will get done and that the season will move forward. From the players' perspective, it feels like pressure without progress. At this point, the dynamic feels familiar. The league keeps moving forward with business operations, and the Players Association keeps applying public pressure. It's the same cycle we've been watching. So where does that leave us? The WNBA has released an exciting schedule for its 30th season, highlighted by expansion teams, new rivalries, and star-driven marketing. But beneath the surface, uncertainty dominates. Free agency could completely reshape the league. The CBA remains unresolved. Players are frustrated. Injuries are already impacting key names. And the balance between growth and player protection is still being figured out in real time. The schedule tells us where the league wants to go. The players' reactions tell us where the league still needs to improve. As always, I want to hear your thoughts. Are you excited about the 2026 season? Do you like the shift toward Clark versus Bueckers? Do you think the league and players are close to a deal, or are we heading toward more tension? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.